been to some fireplaces. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I hadn't seen such riches, I could live with being poor. Oh, sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Sit down next to me. Sit down, 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 down. Sympathy.
Evening, everyone. Evening. We're going to have a chat about probably one of the most iconic managers Arsenal ever have had, and his playing career. Before we start this, a lot of people asking me about where's Kenny? Where's Kenny Ken? Spoke to Kenny today, and I'm just going to put this out there, that at the moment he's going through a very, very horrendous time. His family as well, and he has basically said thanks to everybody for your support and love. That's what he needs right now, and I'm going to say no more about that right now. But yeah, big up, Kenny, man. Our thoughts and love are with you, bro. So Jules Graham joined Arsenal 66-67 season from Chelsea, and then wasn't really that long at the club before he disappeared off to Man United. We bought him for £50,000 from Chelsea at the time, where he was at that point in time a very prolific striker at Chelsea, averaged a goal every 2 games, which is pretty damn decent when you think about it. He was brought basically as an ideal up-front partner for, at the time, John Radford, another legend player of Arsenal Football Club. You know, the absolute different class of player there. It's mad when you think about it, isn't it? It's mad when you think of the prices back then. You know, big up Lenny, big up to you, man. BVB David won the league and a European trophy, so maybe, yeah. Hello, Joe. Hope you're well. And Unique 79, get the likes, everyone, subscribe when you come in. Absolutely. Thank you, mate, for saying that. And Aces, big up to you, fella. Nice. Thanks for watching. Big up, Mama Flossie. Thanks for joining as well. And we've got salute to the Godfather. Yeah, I'm in the Mafia, mate. I'm in the Mafia. I am the Mafia. And so, oh, hang on, missed that one. Sorry. AFC always, Jez, evening. Sir George Graham was and still Arsenal's best manager we ever had. Yeah, it's been interesting debate about this. And yeah, I just want to clarify something. When I popped the poll up the other day, Monday, I think it was Sunday, whenever it was, I can't remember. A lot of people said, yeah, you haven't got Arsene Wenger in you. You haven't got Arsene Wenger. The reason I didn't put Wenger in there, I'm doing a totally different show about Arsene Wenger as well at some point this month, later or next month. The reason I put those managers in there was I wanted to get an idea of who you thought the show should be about. I've done one about Herbert Chapman last year, some stage. So I was just interested to see what you guys thought. So apologies, I didn't make it clear. I should have put it in the poll that I haven't included Arsene Wenger for this particular reason. So apologies for that. But I am doing one on Arsene Wenger as well. Big up, love to Kenny. Big up, give him some support, man. He's having a right tough time with what's going down right now. Yeah, £50,000. So you think about it, man. It's mad, isn't it? 50 grand. Christ almighty. Players nowadays get more of that a week. It's madness in my view. Seriously. But let's get back into this guy, this player. Yeah. So we bought him basically to partner John Radford up front. But It didn't quite work out because in the 69 season, Bertie Mee decided to switch him into midfield because due to his basic lack of pace, he wasn't a very particularly fast player. He didn't really have the pace to run on to through balls. So that wasn't really working out because Chelsea played a totally different style of play. I don't remember it because I really wasn't that old. I remember seeing George Graham play, but I don't really remember. I'm not qualified to speak about the different styles of plays by the teams at the time. So Bertie Mee, who was a damn decent manager, I mean, he's a very underrated man, let's be fair, decided to move me to midfield. Okay. And that is where George Graham's Arsenal career blossomed. He had this ability for acute passing, and they were accurate. They were like on a sixpence, which made up for his basic lack of pace. He was given the nickname by the Arsenal fans as Stroller, right? Because he didn't tend to run at hard pace all the time. He tended to stroll around, but he had this unique ability of sliding the ball into the right positions for the right players. And that linked him up with John Radford, who was the main striker at the time, along with, of course, Charlie George. And that is what brought the club latter times into the fact that where he moved and became an absolute icon of the fan base. At times, he got called lazy by the pundits, which was a little bit unfair because he was absolutely loved by the Arsenal fan base. Absolutely, we all loved him. I mean, I remember watching him at Highbury. He was a superb player. Yes, he did stroll around, but he had that unique ability of picking a player out, 40-yard pass. Unbelievable, incredible player. So, Bertie Mee, with his knowledge of football, much unmaligned manager in my view, decided that you're going to play man in midfield. And it was working so well that he developed his ability in shooting, scoring, to the point that he had savage shot on him. I remember the one game when I saw him, one of his best goals was an unstoppable volley it's about 25, 27 yards out against Ipswich at Highbury in 1972. No goalkeeper was ever going to save it. But he also had the ability to caress a shot into the goal because he used to come sometimes into the blind spot and he'd take defenders on. And he was he's a quite a big guy. And he would just like body them and get that ball in the net. But his main strengths were his headed goals. Man, I can't ever remember a better header of the ball from the edge of the box. He'd score goals, headed goals, from the edge of the 18-yard box. It's incredible. I don't remember many players I've ever seen doing that. He was able to rise so high that he would just float the ball in and the goalkeeper it would like loop and the goalkeepers never got there. And that became an amazing, amazing talent of his. But I'd go for some more of the chat, man. Steffi, big up to you, Steffi. Good evening to you. Good to see you in here tonight. And unique Charlie George too. Yeah, absolutely. Absolute legend. Yeah. Vincenzo, good evening, mate. George Graham is the greatest Arsenal manager in my lifetime. Big up Don Jez. Big up to you, fella. Thanks for joining. Mama says, hi, Steffi. And SG said, Jez, would you consider George Allison as an Arsenal? Yeah, absolutely. George Allison taking over from Herbert Chapman. Went on to win the next two Division 1 titles, another FA Cup. Absolute class, man. Oh, that's why I put him in them. I was going to put him in there, bro. Unique says, if Arsene Wenger won UEFA Cup against Galatasaray and the Champions League against Barcelona, he would have edged it over George Graham. Absolutely. So, yeah, totally agree with that, mate. Luke, good evening to you, Luke. Hope you're well. Eddie says, I was in the womb on Cup final day 71. Is it right George claimed he scored the Eddie Kelly goal? Yeah, he did. Well, he thought he did. He thought he had. But it got chalked off, mate, to be honest with you. Unique 79 says, oh, Charlie George, he can him them. What a great goal. Charlie George, what a fabulous goal by George. Rest in peace, Brian Moore. Yep. What a great commentator, mate, Brian Moore. What a great commentator he was. Luke, big up to Mama Flossie, good evening. And Mama's saying evening to Luke James. And yeah, I got you mean, man. Anyway, what's this? Bertie Mee's big mistake was splitting up that 1971 double winning team too soon. Interesting point, that. Very interesting point. I'm going to come on to this one. So there was another notable goal. I remember I wasn't at the game. I wasn't there. But it was the cup semi-final. Remember watching it on the TV. But it was the game against Stoke City. It was a replay game. Went to two games. First one, then back in the days, we still do now, and I think they're looking to phase them out. Is the replay games after getting, I mean, the header he scored in that game was unreal. It was the most floated header I've ever seen ever, and it just dipped in. And you thought, how did the keeper not actually even get to that? It was incredible. Absolutely incredible goal. I don't know. I wasn't at the game myself, but I remember watching it and on Match of the Day at the time as a little kid. And it was absolutely unbelievable game. Unbelievable. And then, of course, we'll talk about that in a bit. We then go to the 71 Cup final up against Liverpool. Iconic game with George Graham getting man of the match after, as you said there, about the fact he tried to claim the goal, but Eddie Kelly's goal, it wasn't. It was actually Eddie Kelly. But there we are. He was unbelievable in that game. He was incredible in the passing, what he did. The pass he made when Charlie George and it was just incredible, man. But it was strange, so we'd won Division 1. We've then gone to the cup final against the Liverpool team that was in development to become one of the greatest teams in English history in the 70s, 80s. Yeah, it was amazing. And the fact that the point was made there that Bertie Mee did start selling off players. Where have we seen that before? Since, rather. Ray Kennedy went off to Liverpool, had a great career there, won Division 1 titles, 2 European trophies, European Cups, actually. And, yeah, he was an amazing player. But the thing is, what was amazing is that it seemed really weird that within a season and a half in 1972, we sold him to Man United. Tommy Docherty's team that was fighting relegation at the time, we sold him off £120,000. So that's a bit bizarre. Bit bizarre. We sold off Ray Kennedy to Liverpool, and it does seem a bit mad to me, to be honest. But Tommy Docherty's Man United at the time, from around 72 to 74, was continuously fighting for survival. And as we know what happened to Man United in 74, they were actually eventually relegated because they were a pretty poor team back then. But you know, it says it all. What happens in football, I think, it's a bit weird that we had an amazing team. I mean, Arsenal got to the 72 Cup final, lost to Leeds. And it was after that we seemed to dismantle the team, which I don't know. It seems to be at times the Arsenal way of doing these things, and I won't lie, I find it a little bit annoying, to be truthful with you. Man was saying hello to Unique 79 and Ian McCauley, and this won't be a massively long show tonight because it's a history one, but if anybody's got anything they want to bring into the show, please do. Neil Warnock, George Graham, good days. Yeah, he was an amazing player. Absolutely amazing player in my book. Privileged to actually see him. Question, Jez, in your opinion, why didn't Arsene Wenger build a dynasty from the Invincibles? Why did he break them one by one? Well, that's a very, very good point, Unique. I don't get it. Right, the Invincibles, what we seem to have just done after the Invincibles was thought, right, we've done that now, let's move on, and we'll start losing some of the best players we've ever had in my lifetime at our club. Yeah, it's incredible that we did that. It really is, but I don't know. Was it the ambition of the club, man? Was it that we just didn't have that drive, or was it? I mean, come on. Everybody talks about, we had to sell players because of the stadium. That's bullshit, man. The club has never been out of money for God knows how long. Seriously, I'm fed up with that excuse. It's an absolute bullshit excuse. But it is what it is. I just find it annoying that what we did with that Invincibles team. All right, Omri wanted to go. He decided he wanted to go. Yeah, but we just sold players off, in my opinion. And why? We just didn't seem to have the extra drive to go. It was almost, to me, with the Invincible team, right? We've got to a level. We've done that. We've got Invincible. Yeah, and now we'll just sit back. And Arsenal at times in history have done that. They did that with this team, the double winning team. Yeah, this team that we're talking about with George Graham right here and now was the first time we'd won a European trophy. In the 69 team when they won the Intercity Fair Cup, which went on to become the UEFA Cup. So why did we do that? I don't get it. It's very frustrating in my book. Asa says, Charlie George goal, what a finish. Yeah, it was class. Yeah, absolute class. One of the best cup finals I've ever been to. I was privileged to be there that day. It was an amazing day. It was a boiling hot day. Boiling hot day. As cup final days usually are, actually. But yeah, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Unique similar, Ian McCauley, my guy. Big up to Ian. Ian, big up to you, bro, fella. Malcolm, Tam, big up, Jez. Big up to you, my friend. Big up to you. Yes, bro. Jez, you're a fake fan. How dare you want to compete for major honours? Well, yeah, absolutely, mate. Yeah, we don't. We don't want none of that, bro. You know, no. Second place is good. Top four is brilliant. You know what I'm saying? It's fantastic. Unique 79, Charlie George Graham, Kennedy, Radford. Absolutely. Bob McNabb as well. Throw him in there, mate. He was a legend player. Yeah, fantastic, man. And you got some knowledge as well, knowing that. Tony says, even Jez and chat. Big up to you, Tony. Good to see you, fella. And Arsenal fans transfer scouting extra because Arsenal, for some reason, prioritise Cesk's development for trophies. Disappointed. Very, very true, mate. Great comment, actually. Very well said, bro. Very well said. Ian says, even to you, man. It was. We were on the peak then, and we just threw it in the bin. You know, and really, I think it's such a waste of what we had. Mohammed, big up to you, mate. Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, fella. Yeah, we were on the peak of greatness. Seriously. And we just binned it, man. We just absolutely binned it. We should have done the treble in 2004. I totally agree with you, man. Totally agree with you. But you know, this is the Arsenal, man. Patrick Vieira left too soon as well. Absolutely. Why? I don't understand it. I don't. Michael says it was the 71 Cup final that I watched on TV here in the US that endeared me to follow Arsenal. Come on, Charlie George. Yep, Charlie George, mate. Absolute icon. Still works at the club as an ambassador. Met him several times. Lovely gentleman. Absolute class. Michael says, let's be honest, when Wenger won the double in 97-98 season, he won it with George Graham's team with 3 additions of Bergkamp, Anelka and Vieira. Good point. A good point, mate. Good point. I mean, he had the best defence he could have inherited. Hey, how many managers would have liked to have inherited that defence? Wow. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. Karan says, a game to you, mate. George Graham will always be remembered for ending Liverpool's dominance. Well, pretty much, yeah. 89. 10 Mostri. Sorry, mate. I don't want to abuse your name. Chapman for me is the best. Herbert Chapman. We're going to discuss the two of them. I won't lie. Eric Ten Hag must leave Man United after the FA Cup final. Be interesting, won't it? We'll see what happens. Be interesting. It was like thrown in the towel and happy with top 4. Ian McCauley, yeah. I didn't never understood it, man. Why? You know, we were peak and we just binned it. Graham was boss, but not the best. Okay. Who do you think, mate, was the best at Arsenal? Evening, Jeff. Hope you're well, brother. We shouldn't compare our great managers, just appreciate them all. No, I compare them, mate. I compare them because I think it's worth talking about. Eddie says, wonder why we don't remember 73 when we finished second. Yeah. And then what happened? All went horrible, didn't it? All went horrible. Bertie Mee went. In comes Terry Neal. And got us to 3 cup finals, let's be fair, but didn't really do a lot after that. Irony is Cesc left because we didn't win trophies. Well, yeah, possibly. Yeah, I'll possibly go with you with that one. Jason Carter, Big Jez, hope you're well and just want to thank you for a great Arsenal knowledge this season. Respect you, Jason. Thank you for watching, bro. And thanks to everybody that has supported the channel this year. On the way to 6,000 subs. Mate, try and get, well, yeah, it's going to be hard. But yeah, I'd like to get there before the start of the season, maybe. Unique 79, Jez Armstrong and Brady were Liam Brady, mate. Wow, what a player. What a player. Legend. One of my favourite players of all time. All time, man. Stephen says Graham and Wenger were your best managers. In modern times, I would agree with you. I would agree 100% you there. But back in time, there have been some other great managers that, I mean, you know, you can't dismiss Herbert Chapman, Tom Whitaker, George Allison, managers that carried Arsenal through. Scott says, big up, Jez. Who were Arsenal playing the first time you went to our Highbury? West Brom Albion at home, August 68, 69, no, 68, yeah. 1-3-1. That was my first ever game at Highbury. With the general election announcement, Tories out, Arteta out. Great comment. Well, that's well said. Eddie says, everyone forgets how important the 87 League Cup final win was. First cup in 8 years, and we were no longer a joke. Yeah, fact. Anyway, let's get back to the Georgie stuff, right? To Georgie stuff. So when he was at Arsenal, yeah, as a player, as a player, 69-70 Intercity Fairs Cup, our first ever European trophy. Yeah. 70-71, of course, first division, and the 70-71 FA Cup, our first double. It's only the second team in history after Spurs in 61 to have done the double. And when you actually look at him as a player, yeah, it's quite impressive actually. For Arsenal, league appearances, 219, goals 59 as a midfielder. Yeah, he played one season up front. The FA Cup, 27 appearances, 2 goals, not great. League Cup, 27 appearances, 9 goals, not bad. Europe, 23 appearances, 7 goals. And so in total, he had 296 appearances and 77 goals. So, you know, it's not bad, is it? I mean, I'll take it. I'll take that now, be honest with you. You know, fair play. But back in the day, it was a different game. Tom says, sad how the club in its current state sounds completely unrecognisable from the club you knew growing up, beg your pardon, get along gang now. This is the thing. This is the thing. Good comment, Tom. Good comment. I get called and abused, called out, whatever, because I have standards, and I expect the club to have standards. But unfortunately now, it's apparently not acceptable to have standards. You know, so I find it a bit weird that if you're a supporter of whatever sport you want, then you want to win. Surely that's what you're about, isn't it? That's what whether it's rugby, golf, football, cycling, swimming, whatever. You want to win. That's why you compete. And that's what my club years ago we used to do. We used to compete and we'd win. And yes, I'll agree. Last season we competed, came second. Because the manager, I'm sorry, the manager cocked it up. We bottled it. This season we came second again. Why? Because there are games where the manager, and I blame the manager, for changing things, doing stupid nonsense, right? Mixing it up. Why at the Villa game did you drag Havertz back into midfield, right? When he was doing decent up front? That is the sort of thing that frustrates me with this manager. It's not personal, right? It's not personal, but that's what I question his ability to deliver. And I find that very, very annoying. And that's where I get the ump and I call him out, which I'm entitled to do. Yeah, people called out other managers back in the day. Yeah, I remember. I remember when there was the protest that went to Islington Town Hall to get Terry Neal out. That's what happened. Look at the Wenger protests. Yeah, to get Wenger out. It's only eventually when the club was suffering that the Kroenke said, "Got to do something about this." They didn't sack him. They basically just said, "I think we need to turn a corner, and it's maybe time to move on." I'm sure that's what happened. Cesc said that the only Van Persie and Nasri were on his level. Yeah. Fabregas at times I thought was a bit of an arse, to be honest. I won't lie. Tom says, "How did you meet Lee and did you know Claude?" Yeah, I knew Claude. Decent, lovely, lovely, lovely man. I know Lee anyway. But who we got? He played for Man United too, and we signed him from Chelsea. Are you talking about George Graham? Yep, you're quite right. Said that. Lee Gunner said he spoke to George Graham on the phone for 30 minutes of the bump. Yes, he did. Yes, he did, mate. Gidmeister. Yes, he did. He spoke to Lee. Lee actually contacted me and told me. I've met George Graham on quite a few occasions when he was manager at Arsenal, living up there back in the day. And yeah, he told me he was absolutely buzzing about it. Mate, he was absolutely buzzing. The fact he'd met George Graham. Yeah. And I don't blame him. George Graham's absolute top class footballer, top class manager. It's a fair play. I respect that. I absolutely respect that, Lee, for that. I remember we finished 12th and Naeem Lowell and 92 first ever domestic cup double. City and Liverpool do it all the time, but we were the first. Yes. Coming into all that, you're all preempting what I'm going to say. I might as well not talk about it now. Vincenzo, Eddie Cefax, nobody remembers second place. Fact. Absolute facts, man. Absolute facts. The club has had lean times, but then we did well with high standards, like getting in Dean in '83, saw an upturn in time. Facts. God, you know your history, mate. Big up to Gavin, man. Jesse was definitely the best manager in my lifetime. Wish I was alive for Herbert Chapman to be able to make a proper comparison between the two, because from what I've read, he's there too. Oh, mate. My granddad used to talk to me about Herbert Chapman all the time. All the time. All the time. And Atalanta is beaten Bayern Leverkusen. One of George Graham's friends, not Lee's. Yeah, it's a guy that Lee has met in Spain that knew George Graham. And he's not even an Arsenal fan. Neil says George Graham is the greatest of all time, considering he won nearly everything. Top Gooners will never forget or never understand. Will either forget or never understand. Apologies. All they want is pretty football and changing the narrative. Fact. Great comment. Well said. Vincenzo, top four's a trophy. Well, that was George. Well, come on, that was Wenger, wasn't it? Wenger statement, and we're stuck with it. So yeah, can't really say a lot. But anyway, this manager joined us from Millwall, his first club he'd managed, 82-86. He joined Arsenal, started his manager's career at Arsenal with a 1-0 home win against Man United. Pretty big statement. And that was followed by winning one game in the next 7, which was not good, to be honest. It didn't go well after that, did it? But the foundations had been set, right, by tightening the defence and with debuts for Paul Merson, Michael Thomas and Perry Groves. He was starting to get the team looking pretty damn decent. I mean, we remember. We all remember. Well, I do. I remember the 1-0 home win against Man United, and then we went pretty much down the hill, and it was like, oh, this isn't looking good. But then he started to. He had this amazing ability of sorting out the defensive part of his game, which is what he did at Millwall as well. When he was at Millwall were in a terrible spot. Terrible spot. They're in the 4th division, right? And then he gradually moved them up, and it was credit to Sir Peter Hill-Wood and that saw something in Jules Graham, right? So this is now we've had Terry Neal, ex-Arsenal player, manager. We've had now got Jules Graham as manager, ex-Arsenal player. Terry Neal, was he a brilliant player at Arsenal? He was good, but he wasn't. I wouldn't say he was the levels of Jules Graham, to be fair. But there we go. So it was after he sorted out our defence, basically, that Arsenal went on a 17-game unbeaten run in the league. Now, at the end of 86, the first time he's here, Arsenal were top of the table. And it was also this, you've got to remember, this year, right, we're celebrating our 100th year anniversary of existence. And it was the 27th of December that the club was initially inaugurated, set up, whatever the right term is, as Dial Square. So we're now celebrating that. And on that day, there was balloons and all kinds of shit going off at the ground. And basically, it was an amazing day where Arsenal, fair play to them, paraded before the start of the game some proper ex-Arsenal legends in Ted Drake, one of Arsenal's highest ever goal scorers in history, Joe Mercer, and various other icons of the football club. So the game ended 1-0. We beat Southampton, and it was basically a party day. Did it actually cost us our league position? I don't know. I think we sat back again. We basically sat back because we literally, I think, in my view of this one, right, Division 1 title, we're top of the league. Hopes disappeared basically because we went on a club record of 22 unbeaten games. But after we all remember it, the very bad-tempered game at Man United. Yeah, the classic Man United game. Not the one where we got deducted points, because that came later, right? But we lost 1-0, and that pretty much killed our title challenge to the point that we've sort of fell apart, really, which is a great shame because, we were right up there and we just threw it in the bin. But it was, people, in fairness, it's the manager, Jules Graham. It's his first season. Give him a chance. We are still in the FA Cup and we're still in the League Cup, right? So we are challenging. Well, we haven't played the FA Cup yet, but we're still in the League Cup. So you can't deny we're challenging on all fronts, which is unlike what we do nowadays, because the league, the FA Cup and the League Cup we just throw in the bin nowadays. Fairness, but there we go. So Arsenal now, we're in the League Cup final. We've qualified, and we had to play double winners the year before, Liverpool. But we had to go through 3 games in semi-finals to get past Tottenham Hotspurs, right? And it went to, as you know, it's home, away in the semi-finals of the League Cup. But because it ends up at levels, we had to go to a separate replay, where Arsenal won it and we got us over the line. So we're now pretty much out of the league. We've gone out of the FA Cup, because we've basically cocked that one up, and we're now in the the League Cup final against the double winning Liverpool team from the year before. So let's do some more of these chats. Man City fans were the best, want to win, and win. Some of the fans don't want the best, don't want to win. I really don't understand it. Absolutely, mate. It's all the get along gang. John Ray, big up, Jez, big up to you, man. It's all the good, big, get along. Let's be fine. Let's be happy. Let's sing that stupid song. Asa says George Graham gave Paul Mercer wisdom before Sheffield Wednesday League Cup final '93. I believe he's going to school today. Facts, man. Stephen says he was nearly invincible manager in '91. True. One of the best teams I've ever seen play football. I won't deny it. Atalanta might win Europa League when we couldn't. Could play them in Champions League next season. Well, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? That's for sure. Lightning Storm Entertainment. Big up, Jez. Big up the legend, Jez. Real one. Big up to you, mate. Thank you for that. Mark Shaw. The football is atrocious, and we need to evolve to the threat of Ferguson. I agree. Vincenzo says even Wenger's early was built around George Graham's back 5 fact. Yes, yeah, totally agree, man. In fact, we haven't won the league since Ray Parler, Martin Keown left 2004. Good point. Very good point. Graham signed dead ballers in early Premier League years. Like Wenger, he fell off towards the end. Jensen, Kinwari, Helder, never. No, they weren't. No. Carter, I don't know who that is, mate. Ian says, when Wenger told the world top forwards a trophy, him telling us we couldn't do it again. Well, he called it, man. Van Kari Mikesh, you may have been to more games than me. Anyone can read from a piece of paper. Well, do you think I've got an encyclopedic brain, fella? You know what I mean? I have to write things, bullet points down like they do on the BBC. You know what I'm saying? They proofread off a teleprinter. You know what I'm saying? So thanks for your comment, fella. Smash a like on the way out. Rel says, big up, Jez. Big up, man. Big up to you, man. I think it's actually criminal the way these youngsters dismiss all the domestic cups. Yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't. You know, it's especially the FA Cup. Come on. It's the oldest trophy. Well, no, I was actually corrected on this. I don't know how correct this is. I've always said it's the oldest football trophy in world history, but apparently I'm wrong in that, and I can honestly believe this is fact, right? It's the Scottish Cup is older. Fair, I didn't know that. Somebody told me this about 2 months ago. Fair play for saying that. But I love the FA Cup. I was brought up with the FA Cup. You know, it's levels to me. Seriously. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And this fella here. Hey, mate, why don't you go and set up a history channel, fella? Why don't you go and do it? Let's see what you know about the club. Yeah? Yeah, you go and do it. I'd love to come and watch you and criticise what you're talking about. Prick. Keith plus Spud the Rotty. Big players want to play in the Champions League. Winning the League Cup doesn't give anyone but that top four does. So if a team want to attract the big players, getting top four will help a club more than a cup. Mate, okay, where were the players, world-class players that came in last season? Where were they? You tell me. You tell me where they were, because I'd love to know, mate. Seriously, because I didn't see them. Didn't see them, bro. Declan Rice, levels. Probably the best signing last season in the Premier League, in my book. Right? But, yeah. I agree with you. I've always said, if you win the Premier League, then you will attract the best players. But we haven't done that, have we? So I don't see that at all. I really don't see it, man. Cody FC, George Graham can't be the best player, as the defining metrics to be the best is winning trophies. Remember? Can't be the best, as the defining metrics to be the best is winning trophies. Well, he did. He did win trophy. I don't understand, mate. Sorry. Maybe that's a typo. I don't know, man. I don't know. Scott says, Jez, only 3 English clubs have a winning record against Arsenal: Man United, Liverpool, and Notts County. Have only 3 English clubs have a winning record against Arsenal: Man United, Liverpool, and Notts County. Right. Not sure about that, mate. Never mind Wenger. He's one of them, isn't he? When I was a child, Vincenzo says, when I was a child, everyone dreamed of winning the FA Cup. Yeah, it was a day out, wasn't it? It's a day out. It was like the fact, even if you weren't in, even if your team, right, wasn't in the cup final, yeah, it was a journey. BBC One, ITV. You know what I'm saying? That it was a day out. You used to have to see the players coming out of the hotel, all the journey down, and they'd go down Wembley Way, go out, walk around the pitch. It was a whole exciting day out. Even if Arsenal weren't in it, I used to love watching it. I still do to this day. It's a big day out, man. Van Corey says, come to India and see where were real football fans in India. I'm not saying you're not. Good luck to you. Well done. Glad you're supporting the club, fella. Not necessarily. It's about legacy, influence, not just trophies. It's about trophies, bro. And people shitting in the streets too when you know. I'm not saying we brought them in last season. I'm hoping they come this window, though. Mate, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. I seriously am with you on that one. Right? Yeah, look, let's put it on the table, shall we? I said, start of the season, if Arteta wins the Premier League or the Champions League, I'll be the first person, probably Lee will be before me, to say, fair play, mate, you've proved me wrong. Here's a glass of champagne to you. You've done it. Well done. Go again. And go again. Right? Fair play. It's not a personal thing with me. I just think he's going to get another season. We know that. Right? Unless he walks himself. Yeah. If he walks out the door himself, then who's going to come in? That's the question. But at the end of the day, fair play. He got the second, but he hasn't won fuck all. Went out the FA Cup, went out the League Cup. Did all right to a point, Champions League, but we're not in the Champions League final, are we? So, sorry, you failed. Sorry, it's not hard to say, is it? You failed. Keith and Spud the Rotty, and now we have Champions League spot. I know grill cups are important. They are to me. Every single cup is a trophy. So there we are. Dan, our manager, has thrown away the cups, and the things he has tried to win, he has failed. Yeah, I don't think I find it odd that he doesn't respect the cups. Just saying that. But anyway, let's get back to this. So we're in the League Cup final, right? First time we've been there for forever. We were in 67, 68, 68. Lost to Leeds United 67, 68, and 68, 69. We lost to Swindon Town 3-1 in extra time. So we're in a fight now, yeah, and we've gone 1-0 down early doors to Ian Rush, Liverpool, who no one was surprised. But then we had Charlie Nicholas, relatively new signing, comes in, bangs in 2 goals to win us our first ever League Cup, first time ever, and this is this is Arsenal Football Club, yeah, unbelievable, man. But it is what it is. Season ends, right, and we've won a trophy, League Cup final, fantastic. But we'd fallen apart in Division 1, ended up 4th behind Everton, Leeds, Spurs, and that was how it was. But you can't deny this manager is one of the best we've ever had. There's always going to be arguments about this one. If you look at what he achieved as Arsenal manager, right? He won league championships, the iconic 89. We all know that the 50,000 Arsenal fans were there. 91 nearly went invincible. FA Cup 93, yeah, League Cup 87, 93, and our second ever European trophy, Cup Winners' Cup. Yeah, the Parma game 1-0, Alan Smith in Copenhagen. Yeah. So before we wrap it up, I mean, there's a lot of people's debate about this one, right? And it's quite interesting, I think, right? 9 years he was at the club and he won 6 trophies. So there's a lot of debates going about the similarities of him and Chapman, Herbert Chapman, back in the day. Both being pretty relentless, which, fair play, 6 trophies, 9 years. Yeah. You can't deny, damn decent, fair play. Chapman was at Arsenal for 9 years. Yeah. 1925, 1934. Won an FA Cup in 1930, Division 1 titles, 31, 33, 34. Sadly, he then died in the January of 34, and George Allison came in to finish it off. But would you argue that he set that team up to win that season? I'd say yeah. And then Arsenal went on, of course, on their winning run of 35 to win Division 1 3 times on the bounce to equal Huddersfield Town, where Herbert Chapman had also been manager years before. So it's a big debate, isn't it? It's a big debate. Personally, I was never privileged to actually ever see Herbert Chapman. My granddad used to tell me about him all the time, the great team, the great Herbert Chapman teams in the 20s, when he first joined in 24, 25, I beg your pardon, which my granddad's first game at Highbury was 1924. And so he went through all those years with Arsenal and saw these amazing teams and the George Allisons. After the Second World War, Tom Whittaker, what people say was the second coming of Arsenal. I'm not sure I agree with that one. And we went through the fallow years of the 60s. So, yeah, I personally think who was the best? Would I say he's better than? Would I say Jules Graham is better than Arsene Wenger? Well, look at the type. If you look at the years that Arsene Wenger spent, right, at Arsenal, yeah, for what he won, yeah, the Invincibles, brilliant, fantastic. The FA Cups, fantastic, brilliant. But when you look at 9, over all the years he was there, don't know. It's up for debate. It's up for debate. But anyway, to finish it off, George left after a Premier League inquiry about dodgy dealings, bungs, however you want to phrase it. It's one of them. But the biggest elephant in the room is, should he have a statue, George Graham, for what he achieved? Herbert Chapman has, for what he achieved. So, personally, if you want my honest opinion, yes. But people out there know, because basically the nonsensical argument. No, he managed Spurs. Well, he managed Spurs after he left Arsenal. So does it matter? Does it matter? Is it important? He went on to manage Leeds United as well. So does it matter? No, not really. 89 is most exciting moment in English football, maybe world football. Spurs has nothing in their history like that. That's one of the many reasons for a bigger club and superior football club. Totally agree. I totally agree with you on that. Absolutely, totally agree. It's. I just don't get the argument. Does it matter that he managed Spurs after he left Arsenal? If he'd managed Spurs before he come to Arsenal, would that be the same argument? I don't know. He managed Millwall before he come to Arsenal. So is that something that shouldn't be put right? And say, well, actually, we didn't want him because he managed Millwall? No, I don't understand it. I don't. Graham made Arsenal great again. Wenger won 7 trophies in 9 years, from 1996 to 2005. Yes, he did. But what happened for the other years after that? That's my question. No, don't get me wrong. I love Wenger. I thought when the day we got rid of him, right, I actually said for a whole year before that, if we get rid of him, careful what you wish for. Who are we going to get in? I actually said that. Yeah. Obviously, I didn't have a YouTube channel then, but I said to other Arsenal fans, if we get rid of him, who we get? Be very careful who you wish for. Just saying it. Jason says, Jez, do you think the Cronkies will give Edu and Arteta the money to go out and spend big this summer? And which striker would you take? That's a great question, Jason, because at the end of the day, right, we've got to get rid of some crap. Yeah, we've got to get rid of some crap, because at the end of the day, we've got to raise some money to add into the money. But then again, this is talking there all the time about FFP and all this and all that. I don't know. I'm not qualified enough to make the statements about any of that. But the fact remains, who would I take? I'm not overly convinced right now. I haven't watched what I've seen of Tony at Brentford. Is that because he knows he's going at the end of the season, or have we already done the deal? That's a question. Has it already been done and dealt with? Who knows? Elise from Palace, levels, absolute top player. Top player. Imagine him, you can imagine him linking up with Partey. Aces says George Graham beats Wenger all day, no contest. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Aces says Atalanta 3-0 up. It's an interesting one. Tree says David Dean was the main man from Wenger. Yeah, absolutely. He brought him in. And what a great move. You can't deny it, can you? One of the greatest managerial decisions ever. You can't knock it. I mean, when we got him, I thought, who's this guy? Arsene, who? Never heard of him. But hey, there was talk Graham would have resigned as he knew he wouldn't get the team good again. I've not heard that, but possibly. Yeah, absolutely. Statue for Aces. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I mean, what he achieved at the club, fair play, man. Fair play. Arteta has had a bigger impact than Chapman. Fuck off, you prick. He ain't won nothing, bro. Do you even know who Herbert Chapman is? Do you know? Have you read your history? What he did? What a wanker. Seriously. Fucking Arteta's more influence than fucking Herbert Chapman. You do realise, mate, that Herbert Chapman actually won 3 Division 1 league titles and an FA Cup. Do you realise that, do you? Do you realise that? Clown. Mate, if you live in India, go learn some history because you obviously don't read enough. Idiot. But there we are. George Graham was one of my idols, not Liverpool off their perch, European success. Absolutely. Totally agree. I wanted Wenger out from 2014, but I still loved him for what he did and still do now. Totally agree with you, mate. Totally, absolutely agree with you. What he did, he brought the club back to the great success that we've been seeing under George Graham. Fact. And yeah, I thought he was an amazing guy. I won't lie. But it was time to go. You know, we weren't doing what we were promised we were going to get done, and we still haven't. Let's be fair. To this day, we still haven't. We still haven't done that. We'll get in a big name. We always do. Sell shirts, keep sponsors happy. Our revenues should be higher because we finished second and got to Champions League qualifying. Shouldn't a massive issue? Well, I don't know. Wasn't that the excuse in January why we can't do anything because of FFP? But you've got to agree. Danny Lyons says, thanks Bruce Rioch for bringing my best 2 players in, Platt and Bergkamp. Yeah, fair play to Bruce Rioch, man. He never had a chance, did he? Never had a chance. Mama says Isaac is not for sale. No, I agree with you, Mama. But if people come in, if a team comes in with big money, you know what goes on. You know what goes on. Jason Carter says, I never thought about the possibility of Tony already being signed. I just think maybe it's already done behind the scenes and it's not going to be announced for the obvious reasons. I'm just saying, I could be totally wrong. But I'm just saying, behind the scenes, you never know what goes on. It's, you know, all this tapping up thing, you know, it shouldn't happen. I agree. But you know how football clubs work. Gavin says all the people in India and Wakari is here feigning intention. Pathetic. Yeah, well, he's a clown, man. Absolute clown. Ian says, I have no confidence Arteta and Edu are bringing anyone good in. Yeah, well, I saw yesterday we're talking about this Ajax player, 23, 22, 3-year-old player. Why? We need to get the proper players in, man. Proper seasoned. We need a 25 goal a season man. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, that concerns me, man. Exactly, Jez. 20 years and still waiting on those promises. Yeah, still waiting. Mama says, Gavin O'Flaherty, you do make me laugh. Fair play. Big up, Kyle. Hope you're well, bro. Jez should be a statue of George Graham. What a manager. Absolutely, man. Forget art history, Arsenal's the future. We, the new fans, you're the old, you're a dinosaur. Get with it. Yes, and you know fuck all, and you'll never get to a game because you ain't got the money because you live in a mud hut. So see you later. Unlucky fella. There you go. You're not an Arsenal fan. You're never going to get to the ground. And unlucky fella, you've been dealt with by the mama. She sees you later. Robbie, nah, not for me. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. Why? Vankari Mikesh, are you on drugs? No, he just drinks a lot of dirty water, mate. Gavin, thanks, Mama Flossie. Yeah, well, Mama deals with him, bro. Mohammed says, big up, Jez. Talks absolute facts about players, managers, and others. Keep up with the good content. Thanks, mate. Thank you for that. See, proper fans in here tonight. How about signing Lookman down all right tonight? I haven't seen it, mate, so I'm not going to comment, bro. Lars, big up, Jez. Big up to you, Lars. Big up to you, boys. Yes, Ian, mate. Yeah, Mama's a legend. She bins them. She snipers them straight out. But anyway, that's it. That's a little chat about George Graham. The next one will be about Arsene Wenger. I apologise to those in the chat that I confused because I didn't put his name in that because I had already fixed up to do a show about Arsene Wenger. The whole point of it was to talk about the history of some of the managers, the iconic managers we've had. So everyone, please smash the like, sub if you're new, and thanks for watching. And send your love out to Big Kenny Ken, man. He's in bad times right now. And thank you everyone for watching. I'm out of here. Big up, Mama. Thanks for deleting the idiots, as you always do. You're a legend for it. Because you do it in a nice way. You wait and wait and wait, and then boom, see ya. Bye. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for watching, everyone. And I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me some comments in the comment section. See what you thought of it. And smash the likes. And we're out of here. Take care, all.